Here's an idea. Math might not actually exist. Love it or hate it, you can't argue the importance of math. Math, as a system, is elegant, exhaustive, and frequently even beautiful. In the words of Eugene Wigner, it is, quote, unreasonably effective when put to use in all other sciences. But in light of its beauty and effectiveness, and in spite of its importance, there is a thing you can argue about it. You can argue where it comes from. Where biology is the study of living organisms, physics the study of the universe and its forces, chemistry the study of chemicals, math is the study of math. Unlike all the other sciences, math lacks an empirical component. You can't, trust me on this one, see math happening. Like, sure, if you have one WYSIWYGER and you add one WYSIWYGER clone,
you have two WYSIWYGERs. But is this oneness a part of me? Is this two-ness a part of both of us? I like to think that I'm a part of you. I mean, sometimes we even finish each other's. As I was saying, are these ideas features of the universe and the stuff in it? Ideas like 1, 2, parabolas, calculus, subtraction, double subtraction?
Or are they a product of the human brain in all of its genius and splendor? In other words, do people discover math or do they create math? Saying that people discover math, meaning that it exists regardless of whether or not there are people, is the most popular position amongst mathematicians. Mathematical realism says that math is real, that it has an objective existence. It's like stuff. And I don't mean objective like 2 Wheezies plus another 2 Wheezies equals 4 Wheezies regardless of your opinion, but objective like mathematical concepts exist, disembodied in the universe, and as humans with awesome brains, we uncover them and bring them into practical use. New mathematical concepts are like undiscovered species. We just need to find them, and in doing so, add to our set of mathematical knowledge. The anti-realists say that the only reason we have that set of mathematical knowledge is not because we discovered it, but because we created it. They say that math comes from the human brain and nowhere else. And there are a bunch of different variations on this idea, like math is a metaphor, math is a language. My personal favorite is called fictionalism. Fictionalists say that square roots, the derivative of tan x, 42, and all other mathematical concepts are part of a fiction. They are the elements of a story, the story of math, in the same way that Dr. No and a car with missiles in it are elements of the story of James Bond. 10 divided by 2 equals 5 is about as true as James Bond ordered his martini shaken, not stirred. Within the construct of the story, it makes perfect sense. But outside the story, 5, 10, James Bond, and his martini don't actually real. What we do is we use the story of math, which is very good and very complete and totally mathematical, good job us, to describe real things which do not themselves contain or perform math. Like, does an unladen European swallow need all of this math in order to travel at 24 miles an hour? No, of course not. And furthermore, your mother was a hamster, and your father smelled of elderberries. Philosopher Alain Badiou says that mathematics is thus a rigorous aesthetic. It tells us nothing of real being, but forges a fiction of intelligible consistency. Now, this is a nice, friendly, philosophical conversation until we start to consider one of my favorite ifications: ramifications. Like, what exactly is at stake when we're considering the source of mathematics? I mean, I don't want to alarm anybody, but literally everything. For mathematical realists, math is about truth. It is true that when you group 5 of something with another 5 of that something, you have 10 of that something. It is true. We can prove it. So if math and its operations don't exist, are we saying that truth, or a version of it, doesn't exist? Some anti-realists would say that there is only 10 of that something because we are there to count it and perceive it, and that objectively there is no group, no 10, and no mathematical truth? Or maybe it's just math that's at stake. Cognitive linguists Lakoff and Nunez say that humans, because we want to describe, discover, and probe, are great at inventing systems that help us do that. Numbers, operations, even measurements. Lakoff and Nunez say that math is able to model regularities in the universe which are not inherently mathematic, but are modeled and understood through math by humans. If there existed something better than math at explaining and modeling the world, then we'd use that instead.
Sources for all this in the doobly-doo, a word I invented.
Which brings us to the last and I think most important point in this very weird conversation. Seeing as how math is only provable with more math, a tautology arises. The only math which is known by humans is the math which is knowable by humans. It might seem obvious, but it's really important, because mathematical realists believe that beyond the math we currently know, there is more math. They believe in an objective mathematical universe that contains concepts we might one day discover, we might never discover, and for whatever reason might never be able to discover. And in the absence of a direct observation of mathematics, in the same way that a biologist can directly observe cells, mathematical realism boils down to a kind of faith. A faith in a mathematical entity or set of entities which is out there, in the universe, waiting to be discovered, and would be there regardless of if there are humans or not. Now, to my ears, the belief in an external mathematical universe that you can't perceive or directly interact with sounds a lot less like science and a lot more like the opposite of science. So does this mean that I think realism and the idea that mathematics exists outside of the human brain is false? I really don't know. Personally, I think anti-realism is more interesting, but if I really knew it was true, I would probably have a Nobel Prize in physics. Or be Brahma, the creator of the entire universe. What do you guys think? Does math exist in the universe, or does it come from the human brain? Let us know in the comments, and if you're not too offended that I called your mother a hamster, please subscribe. This video is also part of an amazing all-time top 10 super collab, so we'll put an annotation somewhere here, and you can see all of the other videos that people made about unanswered science questions. It's all crazy interesting and mind-blowing. You should watch every single one of them.